Operation Backstop was a United Nations protection force military plan designed to guard a portion of the United Nations protected areas against attack by the Croatian Army during the Croatian War of Independence. The operation, developed by the UNPROFOR staff in charge of the UNPA Western Slavonia in 1992, was scheduled to be implemented by two mechanized companies of the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry Battalion deployed in the area. Although no HV attack occurred in the area during the UNPROFOR mandate, elements of the plan were used by the 3rd Battalion of the PPCLI as the HV clashed with the Army of the Republic of Serb Krajina in the January 1993 Operation Maslenica. The 2nd Battalion of the PPCLI implemented the plan in March 1993 to demonstrate UNPROFOR resolve. The UNPROFOR Sector West Deputy Commander considered the plan impractical except for deterrence, due to security concerns. Background: in November 1991, Croatia, Serbia and the Yugoslav People's Army agreed upon the advance plan, designed to halt combat operations in the Croatian War of Independence and allow the negotiation of a political settlement. In addition to the ceasefire, the plan protected civilians in specific areas, designated as United Nations protected areas, and UN peacekeepers in Croatia. The ceasefire went into effect on 3 January 1992. Shortly after the advance plan was accepted, the European Community announced its decision to grant diplomatic recognition to Croatia on 15 January 1992, and the Serb and JNA-held areas of Croatia were organized as the Republic of Serb Krajina. Despite the advance plan's requirement for the immediate withdrawal of JNA personnel and equipment from Croatia, the JNA stayed behind for 7 to 8 months. When its troops eventually pulled out, the JNA transferred their equipment to the RSK. Because of organizational problems and breaches of the ceasefire, the UNPROFOR did not begin to deploy until the 8th of March and took 2 months to fully assemble in the UNPAs. The UNPROFOR was tasked with demilitarizing the UNPAs, maintaining the ceasefire, monitoring local police and creating conditions for the return of internally displaced persons and refugees. These comprised more than 300,000 Croats who were exiled from RSK-controlled territory and 20,000 Serbs who fled areas of Western Slavonia captured by the Croatian Army in Operation Swath 10, PAPUK 91 and Hurricane 91 in late 1991. A portion of Western Slavonia, encompassing an area approximately 90 by 45 kilometers, was designated as the UNPA Western Slavonia by the peace plan. Although unlike other UNPAs, the RSK controlled only about 1/3 of the area in the south, centered on the town of Okučani. The RSK-held area included a section of the Zagreb-Belgrade motorway. Sector West was divided into 4 areas of responsibility. The western portion of the motorway section and its surroundings were assigned to a Jordanian battalion of the UNPROFOR, and the area to the east was the AOR of a Nepalese battalion. To the north of the JORD-Battalion and EPBATAORs, a Canadian battalion AOR was established. The northernmost portion of Sector West became the AOR of an Argentine battalion. Unlike the Canadians, who had at their disposal 83 armored personnel carriers, the Jordanian and Nepalese troops were equipped with small arms only. Sector West was commanded by Argentine Brigadier General Carlos Maria Sabala, and most of the staff work was assigned to the Canadians. The UNPROFOR established 2 storage depots for Army of the RSK heavy weapons, near Pakrac and in Starogradska, and the HV moved its heavy weapons 30 kilometers away from Sector West. Although the storage facilities were guarded by the UNPROFOR, the RSK was allowed access to maintain the weapons. Canadian Order of Battle. CANB-81 initially included elements from the 1st Battalion of the Royal 22nd Regiment, the 3rd Battalion of the Royal Canadian Regiment and the 8th Canadian Hussars under Lieutenant Colonel Michel Jones. Although lead elements of the unit reached Croatia on the 8th of April, it took 2 weeks for all the CANB-81 troops to arrive. In September 1992, the CANB-81 troops were replaced by the 3rd Battalion of the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry. CANB-81 was headquartered in Polom Barracks, between the towns of Pakrac and Daruvar. Plan. The UNPROFOR operations staff in Sector West developed several defensive plans, assigning top priority to the plan codenamed Operation Backstop. It envisaged an active defense against the HV, assuming that the attack's main axis would be the Zagreb-Belgrade motorway. CANB-81 thought the HV would attack Sector West to control the Zagreb-Belgrade motorway, and the UN would not object to such a move. Any Croatian attack in the area was likely to employ substantially larger forces than those earmarked for Operation Backstop. CANB-81 was expected to deploy 1 mechanized company each to the JORD-BAT and the NEP-BATAORs to position themselves defensively. The forces would attempt to deter the HV from advancing, demonstrate its resolve to defend Sector West, engage the HV with anti-tank weapons and mortars, protect the Jordanian and Nepalese withdrawal and withdraw under the protection of CANB-81. The two companies required 8 hours' notice of the HV advance to reach the designated positions in time. Presumably, the ARSK would retrieve its heavy weapons from the UNPROFOR storage by force and resist the HV. Reaction to Operation Maslenica. In January 1993, when the HV launched Operation Maslenica, Canadian troops acted in accordance with part of Operation Backstop. They dug in the positions, reinforcing the Nepalese troops for 72 hours and expecting an HV attack in Sector West. No reinforcements were deployed to the JORD-BATAOR, and the UNPROFOR prepared to blow up the only bridge across the Sava River to prevent the Army of Republika Srpska from advancing into the area. In response to Operation Maslenica, RSK President Goran Hadžić ordered the ARSK to retrieve its tanks from UN storage in Sector West and attack Novogradska and Novska. When local RSK authorities demanded an explanation of the order from Hadžić, he said that the Croatian forces were about to attack Okučani. On the 26th of January, Zabala met with Dakula in Okučani and reassured him that the UNPROFOR would protect Sector West from a Croatian attack, agreeing to provide the RSK with a written guarantee to that effect. Although Hadžić accepted the assurance and cancelled the attack, the orders were reinstated and cancelled 3 more times over the next 2 days. On the 7th of February, Canadian troops drilled the deck of the bridge spanning the Strug Channel to place demolition charges. The move was protested by RSK authorities, who saw the route as crucial to an evacuation in the event of an anticipated Croatian attack. The situation calmed down by mid-February, and the HV did not attack Sector West. Exercise. The 2nd Battalion of the PPCLI replaced the 3rd Battalion in April as CANB-81. The commander of the 2nd Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Jim Calvin, instructed his troops to approach the tasks differently than the 3rd Battalion had. Calvin did not want the RSK forces of the HV to be aware of CANB-81 operations, ordering the battalion to observe radio silence. According to Canadian journalist Karoloff, Calvin was eager to fight and instructed his troops to return fire if necessary. The situation in Sector West deteriorated when Jordanian General Shazha replaced Zabala in March. A major contribution to the deterioration was Shazha's minimal involvement with local authorities, in contrast to Zabala's cooperative approach. To reassure the Sector West Croatian Serb population, CANB-81 performed an Operation Backstop exercise and the tasks needed to evacuate NEPB-80 in March or April 1993. Afterwards, Canadian Sector West Deputy Commander Colonel K.C. Haig recommended that the plan be redesigned primarily as a means of deterrence. Haig felt that if Operation Backstop triggered an armed clash with the HV, the UNPROFOR would be forced to withdraw through Croatia, exposing the peacekeepers to grave danger. Aftermath. According to Croatian political scientist Vladimir Filipovic, it is unclear whether the limited resources earmarked for the operation and the unclear motivation of CANB-81 troops would stop several HV brigades. According to Haig, the plan did not indicate how CANB-81 or the other elements of the UNPROFOR would retreat through Croatia after such a clash. Haig questioned the feasibility of Operation Backstop because the advance warning requirement was considered impossible to meet. The UNPROFOR had no reliable military intelligence on HV movements outside the UNPAs or beyond 30-kilometer-wide zones around the UNPAs. However, Haig considered Operation Backstop a deterrent. Although Operation Backstop was within the UNPROFOR mandate, Croatian authorities resented the operation. Croatia considered the UNPROFOR overzealous in defending the UNPAs and protecting the Serbs while failing to ensure the fulfillment of other aspects of the advance plan, such as the return of refugees to their homes. By September 1993, CANB-81 was relocated from Sector West to Sector South. The UNPROFOR mandate in Croatia expired on 31 March 1995, and the United Nations Security Council adopted Resolution 981 establishing the United Nations Confidence Restoration Operation in Croatia. Instead, Sector West was captured by the HV in Operation Flash in early May 1995, with no resistance from UN peacekeepers. The main axis of the first day's HV advance was the Zagreb-Belgrade motorway, as anticipated by the planners of Operation Backstop.